express their ideas freely. And once we have this collaborative kind of focus, like they can build whatever kind of music, they can create what kind of music that they want. And our job is to get it in the right hands and give them kind of a artist brand, an artist image, something that they can market to people, something that people will kind of catch on to. And a lot of that is done through like social media, merchandise, things along those lines.
So the fact that he's got here's the thing, and you'd probably agree to this. I've seen this my whole life, is that a lot of times people that are into art, as in what Miss Watkins teaches, hand-drawn art, a lot of people who are into graphics design, a lot of people who are into music, maybe they play an instrument phenomenally, maybe they know how to produce beats, maybe they know how to score music and do all that. They do it at such a high level that they don't understand the business side, the other side of that, of charging what you're worth in order to make money. It's very hard. They say it's very hard to make money in music, but sometimes all it really takes is a good business sense. Mm-hmm. Not that that changes the fact that you got to be extremely good or have a long track record of success in order to make money. I mean, when I started DJing, I didn't make a lot of money, but then there came a point where I said, okay, I'm good enough. I need to stop giving it away all the time and start charging. So what I did in my business sense wasn't always the greatest, but I got better over time, was you give away your talent when it means that you're going to be in front of the most people for the most good. And then you charge for the thing that you know you can do 100% well at a level that's better than most others. And so that's a fine line. I'm still being told that I don't charge enough for my talent. But for me, I'm still kind of like stuck in the placing the high value on my services, but also making it to where I can still book a lot. You know what I mean? Because if I went out and said I'm a $5,000 DJ and I only get one gig a year, or if I say I'm a $1,000 DJ and I get 30 gigs a year, which one pays the bills? The 30,000, right? But it means I'm gone more, so your time, right? So there's the balance of the time versus money. He's got ideas where artists would work collaboratively in order to help promote brand images. So then you have this idea of a group or a record label, right? So you have the ability to help artists monetize correctly their product. Okay, and I gather Tyler's a very fair-minded person. Like, you could tell when somebody really believes in what they want to do and can figure out a way to make it happen enough to where he could make a living helping others, but lifting all the boats around him, right? So when the tide rises, everybody's boats rise, is the saying. So my thought is, well, he kind of spurred me on because what he can teach me. Now, how old are you again?
23.
23 years old. He's only 12 years older than you. That sounds like a lot, right? I'm 17 years older than he is. And I still feel like he's going to show me how to do some of these programs that he's producing in, because what I would like to do is get it on our laptop, not laptop, but our lab in the library. They make MIDI keyboards that are just like an octave and a half of keys and probably a few touch pads. We plug in USB into our school computers in the library. You bring your headphones and you start working, not with Quaver's style, not to knock Quaver. Quaver's good at getting you jumped in music creation wise, but actually using the basic tools of the professionals to start producing music and producing your own tracks. Okay, and Tyler's the kind of guy that could help me teach you, but then also help maybe redirect some of your talents and broadcast it out there on social networks. You never know. You just never know who's out there. May pick it up and say, what, an 11-year-old did this? Mm-hmm. There's prodigies everywhere. It's tapping into talent and finding out where they are and what you can, because every one of you is special in your own way at a very specialized gift. Sometimes you don't know that you have that gift until somebody brings it out of you. Now, just because you're using Like I'm a DJ and I'm focused on playing all kinds of music. He's a DJ. He's focused more on the EDM side, kind of like the electronic dance music stuff. And there's a reason for that, and we'll go into it in a second. But these tools here are being used by people that compose for orchestras, for soundtracks, for movies. Okay, it's not limited at all. In fact, it's more open than ever for you to be able to produce music cheaply, but also to a high level of accuracy, and you know, it'll give you a lot of pleasure to be able to bring that out of your soul. Tyler, talk to us about Europe.
Okay, so my initial experience was I was just walking down the street and I was talking to this guy. We'd been talking at kind of one of the bars that I was at, and
What country?
this was in Spain, Valencia, Spain. And I was just kind of talking like, yeah, I like to do music in my free time. I DJ. And he's like, you know what? You should talk to my brother. And it just so happened that both of these brothers worked at two different bars. And he took me over to the bar that his brother worked at. And we got to talking, and he's like, you like to DJ? I could really use a DJ. And if you're interested in like throwing your own events, having all your friends, all your international friends, because I was studying abroad, having all them come and we can just have a good night, you know? So that kind of took off. I was doing that on a weekly basis at this very small kind of bar type thing. And then it just kind of grew. He's like, okay, I need a DJ here. So I got to go to this higher end club where they're playing strictly like Spanish music. But it just became a routine where every week I was DJing. I'd go from one club to the next club and just spread my talents, my love for music. And people, I mean, just standing there behind the booth and just seeing people dance, everyone just in unison, that's such a great feeling. And just my time in Spain, Valencia is a very musically oriented city, and just my time in that city like taught me so much just about people, culture, and like I think music is a good opportunity to kind of like travel the world and get to see all these different cultures that can really open your mind to like how different people live. And it was just an incredible experience.
And would you say that your travels to Europe were really your first public shows as a DJ, like going out and stepping out in public?
Definitely. I had done some smaller gigs back here, like in high school. I did like a little miniature festival that my friends put together, probably for 200 people. But other than that, it was just like going to my friends' houses and like, you know, mixing for them, like just dictating like what we listened to for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And like I could just play a pre-recorded mix that I had, or, you know, but that was just kind of like, and everyone's like, honestly, music just sets the vibe. It just sets the mood for like conversation, for everything. Like if you're listening to good music in the background, it almost like makes you talk more.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about Abelton here. So talk about this controller here, and so they can understand kind of how things get started with the programs.
Okay, so I'm gonna load up a drum rack real quick. But basically this controller will, you can use it, tap out your beats. So I have my kick.
A little bit of lag.
Yeah.
Is that lag on my side, do you think, or is that a common thing for you?
It's not too bad, actually.
Okay.
It could be my settings, my buffer settings.
Okay.
But I'll go ahead and play this track real quick while I load up a drum rack. This is a track I've been working on with my roommate, actually. So as you can see, I usually set up my structure in Ableton, and I'll lay out. I usually always start with the kicks because that's kind of like what gives the structure of the track. And then you want to have some kind of response, so that snare. So if I just solo my drum rack.
Strong beats like the bass kick with the snare drum with the weak, right? Strong beat, weak beat, 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's just your basic drum beat. You add a little bit of sub.
There's the bass. Is that the 808?
Yep, that's the 808.
So the 808 is one of the original drum machines used by hip-hop producers back in the 1980s. The Roland's, the manufacturer, they came out with this thing called the 808. The 808 module, which was a standalone drum machine. Every producer had one. And today, even now, that droning beat bass sound right there, if you're driving in your car with your parents and you're listening to the radio, that bass sound, every time you hear that, you can say, oh, there's that 808 bass.
Yeah.
There's an 808 hi-hat, there's an 808 snare, okay? They had just a limited amount of instruments, but for people that were trying to produce hip-hop back in the day, you didn't have a lot of money, okay? But you had to spend a little bit to get that unit back then. And now, it's all digital.
Nowadays, it's so much more accessible. Like, you can go build your own studio, whereas before, you would have had to pay to get studio time, and like you'd pay thousands of dollars just for a couple hours. And now you have $1,000, you can literally have everything you need to make your own beats. You just gotta learn, be willing to learn. And like
this guy right here, $100. MIDI pad, you can use it for anything. If you wanted to trigger water sprinklers with this, as long as the computer talking to the water sprinklers can control them, this can control the computer. This is controlling the computer as to what sound you want to make. Everything that he has up here is already recorded in here. But when he goes to lay out the music and he wants to, put it all together, you can just you can record whatever you're tapping. And some of the really good producers, they could do this live, right?
Just map it out how you want it. Yeah, you have a question? Yeah, it is very much like a keyboard.
It's just all the squares instead of the keys.
And once you know how everything's mapped out, it's easy to just like feel what you're trying to go for. You have this idea in your head, and sometimes the hardest part is, especially in like an interface like this, there's so many different like levels to it that you don't know how to translate what's in your head to the software, and that's what something like this does. It just makes it so much easier to tap out what's in your head. I can just tap out like my hats, like and then add my kick, like, and just kind of build a beat off of that. And any kind of like, so I have my piano.
Like turn up the volume.
This is just a sample, I love the saxophone. I heard this sample, I chopped it up, and I got what I wanted out of it because it's such a sweet sound that I just had to use it. And then I had to get these on the keyboard, that very like kind of bass string.
Is that difficult sounding to produce? Like just in and of itself, if you were to listen to that, is that something you can tap out?
Yeah.
If you had to tap it out one note at a time, but then you wanted to harmonize, so you could tap out the next note above that in your harmony, however you want it. Then you can assign, theoretically on this thing, you could play chords on it like a keyboard, right? And then you can record that sound and then hold that as a sample and then put that whole chord on one button. And then you could assemble another chord and assign it to this button. So, dun 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 dun, and it's playing multiple sounds at the same time. If you're not very good at piano, you're no longer restricted by your technical abilities on the piano. Do you understand? You can still create massively complex music if you're willing to put in the time. At the end of the day, really good producers are really good musicians. You know, you should always strive to be good at the music instruments, because it'll make creating in this realm a lot more fruitful, I think.
Mm-hmm. And that's something I've struggled with. Yeah, music theory. I struggle with music theory. I played trombone in high school or middle school, and I was just not interested in it. I knew how to read music, but over time I was just like, maybe this isn't something I thought I was as passionate about as I previously thought. So once I started getting into electronic music and hearing those melodies, I was like, wow, like this really moves me. I'm very like influenced by this. And once I started picking this up, I was like, I still have no idea how to play the piano, but I could tap it out on this board and actually make something, you know? I'll show you a fun little song that I have. You guys like Kung Fu, old Kung Fu movies?
Do you know what old Kung Fu movies are? No, not Karate Kid. We're thinking like Jackie Chan back in Hong Kong. Not Jackie Chan in the United States, but back in Hong Kong. Even prior to that, Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee.
So, Tyler's got something else here, it looks like. And see, these are all little blocks of information, right? Just little blocks of information. What's this one right here? The chords?
Yeah, those were the dun 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 dun. And then all these down here, if you can see, are little plugins that I have that are altering this original sound. This is a synthesizer, and you can have like a physical hardware synthesizer, and you just tweak a bunch of knobs and you try and get the sound that you want, and then you go in and you mix it. So this will have my EQ in it. I'll pull that up in this next. Actually, I have this one mastered. I don't want the vocals on this one because they're kind of. Let's see.
So his producer's name is Oblivinati. I got plenty of extra money. Hear that idea of the Kung Fu?
Yeah, on that kick, there's just that like Kung Fu, like, hiya, that. I'll show you a, so this is where you get into mixing, is this plugin right here. You have a EQ. I don't know if you guys are familiar with EQs. Basically you can like cut
Equalizer.
out, yeah, equalizer. Cut out certain frequencies of the sound, or you can make certain frequencies louder, just to kind of draw out the sound. You compress it to kind of like glue it together, because sometimes your audio file will get kind of stretched out, excited a little bit. Let's see. This is a cool plugin I have. It's called Sausage Fattener, and it takes a sound. You can add a color to it, and as you add like color and fatness, he just gets a little more angry. It's kind of funny.
Can you isolate the track that that's on?
Yeah.
Because when you hear it, you'll see. And then you'll see in music creation, there's a ton of silly plugins out there that do very specific things, and they oftentimes will pop in like Sausage Fattener. It's kind of like they put that sausage on there. Well, it's eye-catching. They want you to remember it, right?
Yeah.
That's its own form of branding.
So this is my snare that I have in there, and as I turn this up, it just gets louder and more full. Add some color. Let me pull this back around. But if you go too much, then it just sounds too abrasive, you know? You don't want to overdo it on that.
Yeah, pull those all the way down.
Let's See how it's just a little bit more flat. It doesn't have that kind of like punch that you need to like cut through the mix. I'll load up one of my favorite plugins is called Serum, just so you guys can kind of see how to use this.
Now this is the idea that he's going to be creating the instrument that's going to be creating the sound. So he can get very specific sounds produced that are one of a kind.
Yeah, so this is essentially a software that you make your sounds, and this is like your 3D wavetable. So that's actually what the sound wave looks like whenever you hear it. And as I push, so you can just literally like take different sounds.
That's called a sawtooth, and you can tell it's a saw because of the waveform it's produced.
Yeah. Let me get some funner sounds in here. Let's see. Basses are pretty fun to work with. Or you can have arpeggiators, which are
arpeggiators are really cool. I use those a little bit. Where it'll automatically play through a series of notes just by holding down one button. Does this automatically set things up like chromatically low to high, or how does it map it out?
It maps it out. These are 5 notes apart, and then these are, I think, 1 note apart. So you just kind of...
See, I'm learning here too. There's your chromatics.
And that's an arp too. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, I mean, it's so fun to just go in and, you know, you can play with sound for hours and just come up with endless possibilities. It's very creative. Yeah, you guys go for it.
Instead of me just doing it. You gotta take a picture of this.
Yeah.
Here, you hold it up here, and I'll take a picture. Hold that. Okay, you ready? Oh, shutter button.
Yeah, you can see the keys that it's playing on the piano. Let me get a funner sound.
Have a seat, guys. All right, good job. Got it. strings?
Go away.
Strings, yeah.
Go away.
So strings.
It's like a baby.
I
So
can
this-
do, yeah, give me one sec.
It's like I
What do you think? So what I'm thinking, maybe I think I said this in the last class. I don't know if I said it in this class, but imagine the idea of getting 1 octave keyboards, about that size. Okay, about that size. Maybe a little bit more, maybe an octave and a half. So C to C, but then also another half an octave, C to F, C to G, just to give you a little more range. And then on that keyboard, you'd have a row of like 8 buttons. And then getting software like this installed on the computer lab in our library. And then you would bring your headphones to the library. I did. It's not inconceivable for that to be a project long term. Of course, it might be beyond you guys going to middle school. However, maybe eventually, even at the high school level, we start pushing for a little bit more of the ability for you guys to be more self-expressive, self-teaching, self-learning, project-based music creation. Not just I hit play on a song and we sing it and we go to the concert, but actually we do that in addition to producing your music, branding it, making it yours, tweeting it out yours. You go to college and you have a portfolio of composition. Whether or not you're a music major doesn't matter. He's not a music major.
What is he?
He's a business major
Yeah.
with a minor in chemistry who has DJ'd in Spain in multiple venues. So just think about that for a second. Don't limit yourself to one thing. Maybe you're good at basketball. Don't limit yourself to just basketball. Unless the road is very clear to the NBA and you can make your career out of it. You should be trying to express yourself in as many mediums as possible. Maybe you're good at writing. So start a blog and get your information out there, because eventually you can monetize that. Don't wait on us teachers to make the best version of you. What I feel like we need to do more of is, I know I say this all the time, don't wait on it. He didn't wait on a music teacher. Did you have a music teacher that did even what I do?
Not even close.
Okay.
I actually, growing up, I didn't like music class. I hated singing. We always had to do these concerts. I couldn't stand it. Every time I was in there, we had to play those little recorders, and I just wasn't good. I couldn't get it. But as I got older, my appreciation for music really kind of moved me, because it helped me through a lot of the harder times in my life, and I really felt connected. It just influenced me so much that it drove me to want to do this. And now I want to inspire creativity in everyone. That's my main goal, is to make stuff that makes you wow, this is cool. How can I do this? How can I express myself in my own medium? And I just want everyone to be able to do what they want to do with their lives. For me, I'm following my passion. This is something I wholeheartedly want to do, and I want to invest myself in this. So if I can inspire other people to do what they want to do in their own lives, that's what music has helped me do.
Yeah, and you're in a day and age where it doesn't take a whole lot of equipment to produce. How many of you guys have ever created something that you felt so proud about, you started to discover that you have a talent in something?
What do you mean?
I'm saying it's pretty rare at your age, but how many of you have done something that you didn't know you could do as well as you did, right? You just show of hands. I'm not going to ask you what it was that you did, okay? Everybody that's got their hands up, now you know you're capable of that thing, so how do you make that thing even better or broader? For those of you who didn't raise your hand, it's going to happen at some point in your life that you're going to pull something out of you didn't know existed, and you're going to be able to express yourself at a high level. For me, I was a music kid. I enjoyed music class. I played trombone. I found success pretty early on that, to the degree that I knew I was at least going to go to college on a scholarship. Now, I didn't mean I was going to be a music teacher. The one thing I remember when I was about your age that was my, like, wow moment, like, I did this, was running a rock band. And I ran a 7-piece rock band. And I'll never forget, I was in a radio station cutting our own radio commercials because the radio station manager showed me this one piece of software called Cool Edit Pro. And that I could record my voice, and I could add music, and I could add sound effects, and I could do whatever I wanted to do. And I made radio ads that were getting played on radio stations. For me, that was a real aha moment in software. It would be nice if I could get you guys at least exposed to this. Now, it's not easy at first. Nothing's easy at first. But you know what you have is you have YouTube, and you have tutorials, and you have guides, and there's ways to learn at a very basic level the basic steps to do really anything in your life that you want to do. Maybe it's not this. Maybe for whatever reason you're seriously into aquariums. There's a guide for every kind of aquarium setup out there. There's a guide for every fish out there. I mean, I'm saying it could be anything. Some of you guys that didn't raise your hands, you don't even realize how much work you're doing on a farm right now compared to the kids that live in town, who will never get that experience of living on a farm. You may not even recognize that you have that talent because you live that talent every day. When you realize where your talents are and you can look at yourself from the outside in, you can start to project. That's what he's doing right now. That's what he's doing right now. He's in his 5th year of school. He's not even out of college yet, and he's focused on the goal. He's going to take that business degree and know how to manage artists and produce stuff that's going to be awesome for the world. It's just one of those things. And if you live like I do with certain things, you don't stop, or you don't ever look back wishing you had done more, right? So I hope we can continue the conversation. Particularly, we get our music concert done in early April. Maybe by that time we can figure out a way to bring Tyler back and see what else he's done in the short time between now and May. Who knows what he's got on his plate? I'm going to try to get him some gigs, going out and doing some shows, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed having him today. So let's give Tyler a big round of applause.
Thank you guys.
All right. Thank you very much, man. It's a lot of fun having